Next important summit, guys, is the Quad summit. Very important summit, a group which, as per my belief, is very, very important plus tricky for your exam. Why I'm saying that? When it comes to Quad, you must be knowing at one pole we have India, at the another pole we have USA. In between, when we use the term Quad, we have two more countries. One country is Japan, and the second country is what we call as Australia. So the axis of these four countries, the alliance of these four countries, is generally what we refer to as the Quad. All right. But if you replace Japan with Israel and Australia with UAE, United Arab Emirates, all right, just remember this. If we replace Japan and Australia with Israel and UAE, and then we continue and just write down USA here and India here, then group of these four countries is what we guys generally refer to as new Quad. Okay, so never ever get confused between Quad and new Quad. And then when in this India, Japan, Australia, USA, you will add the countries like Vietnam, all right, New Zealand, then that particular group is what we are now referring to as Quad plus. Quad plus. So guys, Quad is important, but more than that, also you must have a brief idea about what is Quad plus and what is new Quad and how these three are different from each other when it comes to the membership. All right. Now let's first try and understand that why this summit is important. Guys, the first fact that you should remember that it was in the year 2007. Okay, it was in the year 2007 when the former Prime Minister of Japan, that is Shinzo Abe, a name which is very, very popular and you must have definitely heard about him. Shinzo Abe, he was the man who coined the term Indo-Pacific. This word was coined by Shinzo Abe. The idea of Indo-Pacific. Why Indo-Pacific? Through this word, Japan wanted to explain that the region of Indo-Pacific, or a term instead of Indo-Pacific in erstwhile diplomatic reference which was referred to as Asia-Pacific. So Asia-Pacific region was being dominated by only one country, and this region was becoming unipolar, and that country was China. So China was rising in its hegemony and influence was rising like anything, and it was an immediate cause of concern for the historical enemy of China, that is Japan. So Japan and its Prime Minister replaced the term Asia-Pacific with Indo-Pacific. Now when you add the Indian Ocean ka region with the Pacific Ocean ka region and its Asian coastline, then we can say that China and its rising influence can be very well. There is only one country which has the potential to counter the hegemony and unipolarity of China, and that country is India. So it was the idea of Shinzo Abe to project India against China to counter its hegemony in this whole region. All right. So this is that idea over which the idea of Quad has been developed. All right. The quadrilateral security dialogue, in other terms, what we generally refer to. All right. Anyways, that's why, guys, Shinzo Abe in previous year, he was awarded with Padma Vibhushan. And this particular year, in 2022, Shinzo Abe has been given Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose Award. Two facts that you should very importantly remember. Why I'm saying this, that this is important? Because India and Japan are celebrating. So let me just clear all of this. So India and Japan are celebrating 70 years of diplomatic relationship. We are celebrating this. India and Japan are celebrating 70 years of diplomatic relationship. India and USA are celebrating. This is India plus Japan. Then India plus USA, United States of America. We are celebrating 75 years of diplomatic relationship. And also just remember, I mentioned new Quad because India and Israel, these are the questions which are expected. India and Israel are celebrating 30 years of full-fledged diplomatic relationship. Okay, so these kind of facts make this Quad group very, very important. All right. So because of Indo-Japan 70 years of diplomatic relationship, this summit is important, but I'm asking you to refer back in your homework the outcomes of 14th Indo-Japan summit. 14th Indo-Japan summit concluded in the year of 2022. Okay, so just remember, 14th edition of Indo-Japan summit also happened in this particular year. Why Japan is important this year? You must be knowing about that in this year's budget, the most popular and ambitious scheme is the PM Gati Shakti Master Plan, in which India is developing 11 industrial corridors. Guys, out of those 11 industrial corridors, 2 corridors are being developed with the help of Japan. First industrial corridor is first such industrial corridor is between Delhi to Mumbai, and then the second such industrial corridor is between Bengaluru to Chennai. All right. Then, guys, what else is important? Japan is that country with which India has the highest valued currency swap agreement, which both countries renewed recently in the year 2022. Last time when India signed a nuclear cooperation agreement with any country, so guys, that country was Japan. What else one must remember? There is an organization known as JICA. What is JICA? JICA is Japan International Cooperation Agency, and it runs a student exchange cum scholarship program known as Friendship. Very important. Just remember this name, Friendship campaign or Friendship program. And IIT Hyderabad recently joined this particular campaign, all right, or this particular project. With Japan, India conducts joint defense exercises. Joint defense exercises like which one? So with Japan, we have a joint defense exercise known as GMEX. As the purpose of Quad, the Quad countries, you can say, organize a joint defense exercise known as Malabar. Okay. Then we have a joint defense exercise. Let me just rewrite here. So one is GMEX that you have to remember. Then we have Malabar. Malabar basically is not Indo-Japan, but it is a joint defense exercise in which India, Japan both participate alongside the 2 other Quad members, that is US and Australia. Okay. Then apart from that, you must remember about a joint defense exercise which is known as Dharma Guardian. All right. But most importantly, what I believe in this year's competitive exams, most likely your exam, that is CUET, they are going to ask you a fact that in which of the following joint defense exercises Japan hosted by India, Japan participated for the very first time. So guys, just remember, India conducted a multilateral naval exercise in the name of Milan from Visakhapatnam, and this time Japan participated for the very first time. Okay, so just giving you a brief reference that Japan is very, very important from India's perspective and our exams perspective this particular year. All right. So guys, having said this, now let's just quickly look into the updates or the issues discussed here. So Prime Minister attended the second in-person Quad Leader Summit in Tokyo on 24th of May 2022. So it is a recent affair. That's why it is very, very important. So what we said, our Prime Minister said that despite the adverse situation of pandemic or COVID-19, we have increased our coordination for number 1, vaccine delivery, number 2, climate change, number 3, supply chain resilience, number 4, disaster response, number 5, the economic cooperation, and also other areas. And it has ensured what? Peace, prosperity, and stability in the Indo-Pacific region. Basically, this is a group which is meant to counter the unipolarity of China or its hegemony in this whole Indo-Pacific region. All right. Now I'm asking you one question which you should find answer of, that China in the year 2022 has threatened the Quad group to form which organization? Which organization or intergovernmental framework was suggested by China to if the Quad group does not leave the anti-Beijing stance, then it will establish it. All right. So you have to find the name of that group which was suggested by China. All right. So what has been discussed at this particular summit? I have told you about these multilateral issues, and also India has joined Indo-Pacific Economic Framework. Indo-Pacific Economic Framework in this particular summit. It is a very, very important group which has an Indo-Pacific economic bloc led by US to do what? To counter China. All right. Next, what else one can remember? So in this particular Quad summit, these 4 issues were discussed. That first of all, there was a discussion on ongoing Russia-Ukraine crisis. The second issue which was taken up here was the next probable war. When this war ends, the next probable war is, many people believe that next war will be the invasion of China in Taiwan to occupy Taiwan under so-called China's One China policy. Then the testing of the ballistic missiles of North Korea was also a very important point of discussion. And then a most recent agreement, very important, most recent agreement signed by the government of China with the government of Solomon Islands. So guys, there is a geographical region known as Oceania, which you must have heard about in your geography, a region where you can find Australia, New Zealand, and the island countries like Vanuatu, the island countries like New Caledonia. So this particular Oceania region basically is divided geographically into 3 regions. Okay, so first region is what we refer to as Micronesia. Okay, Micronesia. Then we have something called as Melanesia. Then we have a third region, first, second, and the third region what we refer to as Polynesia. Okay, so what you have to remember, that in this particular Melanesia region of Oceania, there is an island country known as Solomon Islands, situated towards the eastern direction of Australia and New Zealand. And China has signed an agreement with the government of this island, that if the government of Solomon Island requests the government of China for military assistance, then the armed forces of China will make a presence at this island. So guys, this island has become a cause of concern immediately for which countries? Australia and New Zealand both, because now China can have its military presence just near these 2 countries, which are the strongest allies of USA, and that's why these 2 countries are very critical of China's policy in the Indo-Pacific region. Very importantly, that 9-dash line is a critical point of their foreign policy when it comes to their diplomatic narrative about China. All right. So these were some things, few issues which are very, very important, which were discussed over here. Then there was this discussion on the Quad Fellowship Program, will allow 100 students from each of the 4 countries to study for graduate STEM degrees in the United States of America. Second, Indo-Pacific Partnership for Maritime Domain Awareness. This was another issue that was discussed. Then obviously vaccine partnership was discussed over here, that the Quad has provided 257 million COVID-19 vaccines collectively, and the bloc will continue to provide vaccine doses and support a $100 million facility to boost Indian healthcare sector, which is a very, very important agreement that has been signed. Also, space cooperation. When it comes to space cooperation, 4 nations have committed to sharing space-based Earth observation data. Guys, I'm giving you one more homework from here. Just go and read about what are Artemis Accords. What do we mean by Artemis Accords? Okay, so this is another homework that you have to refer to. What is the idea of Artemis Accords?